Hello and welcome to the first of many tutorials to cover Blender sculpting. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be sculpting a Minotaur creature. Here's a reference image that I'll be working off of that I found online. We'll be using the front view and this side view right here. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to right mouse click and select the cube. I'm then going to shift right mouse click and select the camera and the light, and then I'll press X and I'll delete all three. You then want to switch to front view, so you can press numpad 1 and now you should be in front view, and it should say front ortho. If it doesn't say ortho and it says persp, which means perspective, you can press numpad 5 and then you'll see front ortho. Ortho means no perspective. It means just straight, flat on. Okay, next, we're now going to put in our background image. So one way you can do this is you can move Blender off to the side of your screen, find your image in your folder or your desktop, and you can drag and drop your image, and there you go. Okay, so now move Blender back. Okay, so as I scroll in with the mouse wheel, what we want to do is we want to have the front view shift over here to the right, so the blue Z axis is right down the middle of the Minotaur's body. The reason why we want that to happen is because we're going to apply what's called a mirror modifier, and that allows us to model half of the Minotaur, and then Blender will mirror it and model the other half. Okay, so the way that we're going to manipulate the image is simply this. We're going to press the letter N, N as in number, and we're going to look down here at the bottom of our toolbar that popped up when we pressed N, and you'll see a little category here called background images. If you click on the little triangle next to background images, it will open up and you'll find all the information related to this particular image. So the most important thing is the opacity slider. So I can left click and I can drag the opacity slider up or down, and you'll be able to see more or less of the grid. I'm going to go ahead and lower mine so I can see that blue Z line right there, the blue axis line. I'm going to go ahead and lower mine about there. There we go. Okay, so now you'll see these two boxes here, X and Y. And if I left click and drag on the X box, you'll see inside the X box you'll see that I can click and drag the image left and right. So now I'm going to zoom in. And I'm going to figure out where I want the X to be. So you'll see if I click on the little triangles here, it jumps a little too far. So it's somewhere between 1.8 and 1.9. So now I need to get into doing some decimals here. So if you click inside the box there, then you can type in something like 1.85 and press return, and you can see it's pretty much, that's pretty good. It's not, if you zoom in on that line there, it's not quite 1.85. When I did this before, I think it was 1.847, and that looked, yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so you can see that the blue Z line is now directly on that middle line there, so that's looking good. I'm going to now save this, so I'm going to go up here to File, Save. I'm going to click over here on Desktop on the left-hand side. I'll then look over here and find my Minotaur Sculpt folder. And then right up here where it says untitled.blend, I'll go ahead and I'll name this, and I'll call this Minotaur. Whoops, probably spell it correctly. And I'll call this one Demo. Okay, there we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press N to hide the toolbar. And I need a second view, and that's going to be for this side view. So the way you slice your window in Blender, you divide your viewport, is you're going to come up here in the top right-hand corner of your 3D viewport, and you're going to see these three little diagonal lines. When you put your mouse pointer right on it, it becomes a little cross. you're going to left mouse click and hold down your left mouse button. You're going to drag to the left, and you'll see that you'll get a vertical split. Now you have two windows. So this left one here will be my front view. This right one here will be my side view. So now I want to hide this toolbar here, so I'm going to press the letter T, and then I'm going to press the letter N while my mouse pointer is in this right view. And that's so I can bring up the background images panel and I can make some adjustments. Okay, so let me readjust my screen here. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to slide the image over on the x-axis so that way I have the side view here right on the Z blue axis. So I'm going to go ahead and drag it over, and this one isn't can't be as precise as the front view. It's not as important as the front view, but you just have to eyeball it. So okay, so I decided visually, I decided on the x-axis, I decided on negative 0.653. And you can see that the blue z-axis line is going roughly down the middle of the minotaur there. Okay, so once you're set up with both your reference images, you can press N to make this toolbar go away. You can set up your two windows and zoom out so that you can, and zoom in so you can see them and get really comfortable with them. I'm going to make my toolbar pop back up over here. Okay, so this is essentially where you want to be. We're mostly going to be modeling in the front view on the left there, and then we'll be using our side view over here just to shape and do things like that. Okay, before I conclude this video, we're going to do a couple other little things here. You want to make sure that you have something called the Pi menu installed. So come up here to the File menu, come down here to User Preferences, and you're going to go to Add-ons. And when you click on Add-ons, you're going to come up here in the top left search box and you're going to type in the word Pi, P-I-E. And you want to make sure that you have this second one activated. So click on the little checkbox here that says Pi menu UI, Pi menu official. And then after you click on the checkbox, then click on Save User Settings. Okay, so that's an add-on that's going to help us just with our general workflow. And then there will be one more add-on that we will install, but that's not going to be until later, until we're ready to start the sculpting process. Okay, then this is going to be it for the basic setup for the first video. In the second video, I will start adding in a plane. I'll set up the mirror modifier, and we'll start actually modeling this. Okay, thank you, and I'll see you in part 2.